Hello friends, and welcome to another Bookish vlog.
But I can't make it seem like I want you.
So, I am still in the process of reading the two TBR books because, well, they're good, but I'm not done with them yet because I read too many books at a time. I'm a mood reader, which is why TBRs don't really work for me all the time, which is why I committed to doing the TBR jar. That way I just pick 2 books every 2 weeks and read them accordingly, like when I feel like it. It may or may not work, I'm not sure. But today we're going to do my February reading wrap up. It's March 2nd. It's Thursday. I figured, why not hop on here and tell you all the books that I read this February. Now, we got the handy dandy notebook because as much as my brain remembers things, I don't want to skim out on any details. So, February, I read 6 books. 6 books this February. One is an ARC. I do not have physical copies of any of these books, so I will put the photo of the book somewhere over here. So like I said, I have no physical copies of these books. One day I hope to have them because they were great. So one was an ARC. I have 1 4-star read and 5 5-star reads. This was a good month. Now, my version of a 5-star, I give books can't talk. I give books 5 stars for many different reasons. I have not cultivated like the perfect how I rate my books charting yet because I don't think I would be able to use stars because it would be like, I don't know. There would just have to be so many nuances because there's so many different reasons why I give books 5 stars. Okay. Sorry, my brain went off into space there. Okay, so what were the 6 books that I read this month? First book was the ARC. I read Cupid's Peak by Lee Juquo. That one got 5 stars. I read Praise by Sarah Kate. Now, I listened to Praise by Sarah Kate. As much as I said read. Reading audiobooks, listening to audiobooks is still reading though. So I listened to Praise by Sarah Kate. Let me tell you, that series for audiobooks, snaps. Because the characters they chose, that was hot. Okay, I gave that one 4 stars. Then I read all of the Scottish Wolf series by Theodora Taylor. There's 3 books in that series. There's The Scottish Wolf, Her Scottish King, and Her Scottish Hero. Oh, Her Scottish Wolf, Her Scottish King, and Her Scottish Hero. I gave all of those 5 stars. I listened to the first 2 books on Audible. And then I had to read the 3rd book because the 3rd book doesn't have an audio book yet. And like literally, I finished the first 2 and it left me on a cliffhanger. And I must have ran to find my Kindle and downloaded the 3rd book like this. And then blew through it in like a day. So that should tell you this series was very good. So 5 stars on the whole series. Every book got 5 stars. And then the last book that I read, which is near and dear to my heart, I'm very excited to share with you guys, it was another 5-star read, was Dear Amelia by Asia Monique. This was my first Asia Monique book, and it will not be my last. She has gripped my heart, and now all I want to do is read all of her books. Yes. Okay, so now let's get into the details. Starting with the first book that I read, which again was an ARC gifted to me because I am on Lee Juquo's ARC team. I think I told you guys that a couple of videos back, or maybe last video. I don't remember. Either way. So, Cupid's Peak. Tropes involved. We have opposites attracts, friends to lovers, sports romance, exhibitionism, second chance, and an obsessive male. And if you know me, I just love to read books that have men obsessed with the female character. Like, obsessed. Obsessive males are just hot. Like, with undying obsession for the woman that they love. Snaps. I gave it 5 stars. And then spice level, it was like a serrano pepper. You guys know where to find the spice scale that I have if you want to know the breakdown. Okay, so this book follows Eli and Mia. I'm not going to tell you the whole story because I want you to read the book if you haven't read it. Plus, I don't want to spoil anything. But I'll give you guys the premise. So, Eli and Mia met in high school. Mia has a twin sister. Mia is the quiet, introverted nerd who loves 80s movies, super smart, good at homework, doesn't hang out with that many people. Twin sister, outgoing, outspoken, here we go. Mia has a giant crush on Eli Brooks. He is popular, he plays hockey, he's awesome. Well, Eli needs a tutor. So Mia becomes his math tutor, and all this time she's just developing all these feelings for him. But she won't tell him about it. So by the end of graduation comes around, she has a chance to finally tell him how she feels, and she doesn't. Well, little did she know, Eli never needed a math tutor. He had a giant crush on her too. And he was just waiting for his chance because he had no clue how she felt and she had no clue how he felt. Okay, fast forward 10 years. It's Valentine's Day, you know? The introvert we love so much does not have plans. She has reoccurring appointments on Fridays with things that go buzz in your drawer, if you know what I mean. And her sister convinces her to go on this date for her instead of her going because she has plans. So she drives up this mountain in Colorado and goes to this place called Cupid's Peak. And this is where our story begins. Blind date, doesn't know who she's meeting. So when she finally gets to this beautiful resort restaurant, guess who shows up? Guess who's sitting there at the table? Eli Brooks. Woo! I cannot tell you anymore because I want you to read this book and I'm not about to spoil it for you guys. I'm not about to spoil it for you guys, but let me just tell you, if I've not convinced you to read this book yet, let me just tell you there's a hot tub scene. There's a hot tub scene that will make you read this book. There's a scene in front of literally floor-to-ceiling windows. This book has 80s movie references, and if you know me, I am the queen of loving 80s movies. Pretty in Pink, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Those, they hold my heart.
A few moments later.
Sorry, friends. My camera died, so we switched to my phone. Now, where was I? 80s references. So to find a book that decided, hey, I'm going to throw in 80s tropes and characters that are obsessed with 80s movies was everything I needed. Hopefully I've convinced you to read this book because it was chef's kiss. Next book that I listened to was Praised by Sarah Kate. Just thinking about this, low-key makes me want to blush. This book, audiobook, whichever platform you want to read it on or listen to it on, will give you all the kitty butterflies. All of the kitty butterflies. I'm talking age gap, boyfriend's dad, a BDSM club. Now, if you know me, you know I love an age gap book. I don't know, there's just something forbidden and taboo about them. I love it. But to throw on top that the dad in this owns a BDSM club, well, read it. I gave this book 4 stars. It was amazing. I'd say the only reason that I didn't give it 5 stars is listening to it sometimes. I got really annoyed with some of the characters, but that's the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars. It's my personal opinion, though. Spice-wise, this is a ghost pepper. This is a ghost pepper. This book is going to follow Charlie and Emerson. So Charlie is dating Emerson's son, because Emerson is a dad. He's a crappy boyfriend. Like most, you know, boyfriend's dad, ex-boyfriend's dad book go. The ex-boyfriend is trash, and he is, trash. Trash, it follows the stereotype. So, they were gonna move into an apartment together. It didn't all work out. She needed the deposit back. So, and he's like, well, my dad has it, so figure it out. He also has a terrible relationship with his father. AKA, probably because he owns a BDSM club. Well, actually, his son doesn't know that. He thinks it's a dating app, but either way,
he's not a fan of his dad. Following this story, Charlie goes to pick up the check. And Emerson walks in and is like, why are you not kneeling? And Charlie's like, what? So he thinks that this is going to be another one of those secretaries when all she was really there to do is pick up her deposit check. That's all I'm telling you on that premise of the story. But seriously, Emerson is hot. He's hot. This is everything you could want in a hot billionaire dad. Okay? He's brooding. He's got the tension. Oh. He's a dom in every which way you could absolutely want. This book has toys. It has praise. It has degradation. Of course, it has kinks. We're talking about a BDSM club owner. It has PDA. And y'all, the scene with the throne chair. The scene with the throne chair. Pretty much every scene that ever happens at the club. But, oh, I can't ruin it for you. I feel like I'm about to just spill the whole plot for you, which I'm not going to do. 4 stars, please go read it. If you are into the kinkier side of reading, the smuttier side of reading, I mean, y'all know what Ghost Pepper Spice is for me. Y'all need to go read this. I'm planning on reading the next one in this series because y'all, Sarah Kate had me in my headphones like, I can't take them off, I can't go to sleep, I gotta figure out what's going on. Go read the book. Go read the book. Next book for our wrap up, we're going to go over Dear Amelia because I'm just going to review the whole Scottish Wolf series in one blurb for you guys and wrap it up. Okay, so the next book that I read is the Dear Amelia book. And Asia Monique is officially on my top of authors because first off, this is Black romance. This is Black love. This is not Black tragedy. Which a lot of authors, I'm not going to say, I love me some book with some tragedy. But I love seeing an author take pride in Black romance and then it's displayed all over the pages. Being a Black girl, who loves to read romance novels, you don't always see it in mainstream, Sometimes there's interracial, sometimes there's mixed cultures, but you never always see Black love just splayed throughout the pages. Well, if you read an Asia Monique book, you're going to see Black love splayed throughout the pages. So this book follows Israel and Amelia. They have been friends since, day one. Like, they were neighborhood friends. Amelia's dad wasn't around, but her mom pretty much helped raise the neighborhood. Israel is one of 4 brothers. The rest of these books in the series go off the rest of the brothers, so you can definitely be expecting to hear more book reviews about this because I will be reading the rest. So, we've got friends to lovers. It's a slow burn, secret feeling. So both of them have had feelings for each other the whole time of their friendship. But Amelia is afraid because she doesn't want to mess up what they have. They have this perfect chemistry as friends. Like, he knows her security alarm. He bought her dog. Like, they're always at each other's houses. When they're together, there's no texting other people. There's no nothing. They've been there for all of their relationships with other people. Like, these two are 2 peas in a pod. Well, it's time for these peas in a pod to become more. And this book details the slow burn of their romance and their date. And let me back up a little bit because I'm getting ahead of myself. This is how much I love this book. Amelia is a writer. She runs a blog where she basically, the reason why the book is called Dear Amelia, is she is one of those writers that answers people's questions on her blogs. So what does Israel do to finally get the ball rolling? He writes her a letter asking her out on a date, and she posts the answer on her blog. I will not go into detail about what happens. Go read the book because it's that good. But, oh, y'all, I'll tell you a couple things. This man flew her on a helicopter to her old neighborhood on one of their dates to surprise her with something. I won't tell you what. Which gets me into the parts that I have to say. There are some things that could be a little triggering in this book. We do talk about suicide. It does not happen in the book, but it happens prior. We do talk about grief, and we do talk about loss. But those are normal things that we deal with, and it's written so eloquently and delicately, and The romance trumps the sad stuff, and the sad stuff just adds to the romance because you just see this man devoting his life to really wanting to make someone happy. Again, we have a smitten, obsessive male, which I love. And then on top of that, he's rich. So we got a book about a black millionaire. Need I say more? 5-star rating, spice rating, a jalapeno. It's not the spiciest, but there are scenes. Go read this book. The best thing that I can tell you is, you all know that I love Lauren Asher. I'm obsessed with the Dreamland Billionaire series. If you liked that, you will love this, because it's literally that, but black. And instead of 3 brothers, there's 4. And just go read the book. Go read the books. All right. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the whole Scottish Wolf series. I'm going to tell you right now, I gave every book a 5 out of 5. Every book is a ghost pepper because literally they follow the same group of characters. Book number 1. We have Ian Scott's Wolf and Millie, aka everybody calls her Millie Mouse. She's quiet, she's shy, she goes to work, she does what she needs to do. And then we have Grumpy Boss Man Ian. And when I tell you Grumpy Boss Man, I mean that this man makes her show up at like 4 o'clock in the morning for like morning meetings. Bro, I can barely like tear my eye open at 4 o'clock in the morning. And she's there bright and early every day and can't be late. Punctuality is a must. So we've got Grumpy Boss. We've got Grumpy Sunshine. We've got an office romance. We've got shifters. And we've got a new trope that I'm obsessed with, which is nodding. And if you read Omegaverse and you read shifter books, you know what nodding is. If you don't, go look it up or just read this book because it will explain it. Yo, thinking about this book makes me just want to go reread it. Now, we have Millie. Millie in the past had cancer. She fought it. She has this she has this lucky yellow cardigan she wears to every appointment because when you have cancer, you have to keep going to different appointments. Well, she goes to one, and the one thing she feared happened. A new form of cancer is back. But I don't want you to think that this is some sad, depressing cancer book. No. I said nothing about that. I said this was a hot, spicy shifter book. Because little did we know, someone's a shifter, and someone solves Millie's problem. I'm hinting too much because I don't want to ruin it, because the way they did it was, the way Theodora Taylor did it was perfect. Because it had you guessing who the shifter was the whole time, and you thought maybe, but you weren't sure. You thought maybe, but you weren't sure. All I can tell you is this. Millie's fine. Ian's hot. And man, that scene in the office. Woo! If you don't want to read this book by the descriptions I've given you so far, pick it up for one thing. The scene in the office. Now, I listened to this on Audible, and that scene had me rewinding to listen to it all over again. Next book in the series. Okay, first book, you get to meet Tara. Tara is Millie's roommate and best friend. She's a shifter wolf. She's in the city. She goes on these dates that Millie didn't know about, but then eventually she finds out what's going on. She shifts once a month quietly by herself. She has an amazing job, a closet to die for. This girl loves luxury. She loves fashion. She's stylish. Well, if you read book 1, you meet Magnus. Magnus Scotswolf is Ian Scotswolf's brother. Due to the events of the first book, Tara and Magnus don't like each other at all. Or so we thought. Well, Tara hates Magnus with a burning passion from deep down in her soul. But Magnus took one sniff and said, that she-wolf is mine. That leads us to our second book, which so happens to deal with a one-night shifting moon, an oops-a-daisies accident, and a bunch more stuff that happens afterwards. So we've got enemies to lovers, we've got secret lives, we've got shifters, we've got nodding. We've got a cocky king who hates the word no. No one says no to this man. Tara always says no to this man. She's sassy. She's direct. She knows what she wants out of life. She loves her independence. And why she loves her independence is a big old secret I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to read the book to find out. But these two are just... This is a perfect enemies to lover because you know these two, you're like, these two are not going to work. These two are not going to work. They don't like each other. There's just too much animosity. But then you see this passion for each other and this love develop and you're just like, what? Okay, like I said, go read these books. Okay, last but not least in this series is Her Scottish Hero, which I have to say probably has my favorite character in it. Male-wise, wolf-wise. Oh my gosh. So as I was saying, we get to meet my favorite wolf. And probably male character in this whole book. So we get to meet Albin, who is the kingdom defender. As I told you about the second book, you know, Magnus is the king of their little wolf pack Ireland's... Oh, I said Ireland. Wolf pack Scottish land. Well, Albin is the kingdom defender. You will meet Albin in book 1 and 2. Albin is a grumpy recluse. He's been through enough. He's had enough. He just wants to lay low in his cabin deep in the woods and be left alone. Well, that doesn't happen. This is where we enter Leora. Now you hear of Leora in the second book with Tara. Tara is Leora's sister. Now, there's 3 sisters in total. There's Leora, there's Tara, and there's Naomi. In this third book, you will meet all 3 of the sisters. Well, you already met Tara. You'll meet the other 2. Now, Leora is our interest in this book right here. She is a wolf who's in a wolfer night pack. So the best way to describe that is the Amish. She's in an Amish wolf pack.
What did he say?
Now, if I have not told you yet, all of these books are multicultural. So we have, you know, Scottish men and mixed culture black women. At first, I was sitting here like, Amish? I don't even think that works with mixed culture black women. But in this book, it did. Let me just tell you. Read it because the things you find out, the places you go. Let's get back on track. Leora was wolf mated in a cage with her mate named Joshua. We find out that he ain't a nice person. He ain't a nice person. I've never wanted to jump in a book and square up so badly. I would square up against Joshua. I wanted to give him a 2-piece Tuesday and a you got knocked out Friday. That should tell you how much I hate him. So you might hate him just as much. But then there's Albin. So fast forward a little bit, trying not to give you too many details. Leora got wolf mated, which if you know the story with wolf matings in books, she got pregnant, but they mated as wolves. Which gives us Dory. Dory's toothless, which means her fangs have not come in. That doesn't make Joshua happy either. Well, something happens, and Leora and Dory have to book it. Out of their pack, out of their town, and they get on a plane for the first time because if you know Amish culture, wolfer night culture are the same. There is no technology. There is no planes. You ride in a horse and a buggy. So they get on a plane and book it to where Tara, who is now the queen, that should tell you a little bit about book 2, who is now the queen of the Scottish land with Magnus, her king. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because I don't want to ruin book 2 for you. Now, she books it here and travels and ends up finding this cabin because she's gonna shift. And her toothless daughter doesn't shift. So she has to try to figure out a way how to get Dory safe so that she can shift so that everything will be okay. Where does she end up? She ends up at Albin's recluse camp, little cabin in the woods. There we go. Cottage. I'll call it more of a cottage. It's not really a cabin. Cottage in the woods. And this is where our story starts to develop. Because you've got this grumpy, recluse wolf who's not really that big of a fan of Tara. And then you got Tara's sister and her little wolf baby who show up. And you're wanting to be alone the whole time. But more things happen that I'm not going to tell you about because I want you to read the book. And we end up just getting these forced proximity, grumpy sunshine, secret feelings. We got a secret mom and running from an old life, all wrapped up in a hot, lumberjack-looking bearded man who's Scottish. Oh, and then there's Albin's dad, who honestly is comedic relief and joy throughout the whole book. The way these two's romance develops and the things that Dory and then Grandpa Wolf do, y'all, go read this book. Go read this whole series. If I've not convinced you to read this series yet, I don't know what will. So that, my friends, is my February reading wrap-up. I really enjoyed the books that I read this February. They were honestly great, and I'm really excited to read more. I'm going to try to post some more wrap-ups and what I read, and probably more like trope books, because I do read, once I read one trope, I get stuck on that trope a lot. So I think I'm going to post some trope videos. Hopefully you guys will enjoy those. But for now, friends, that's all I have for you today. Stay reading, stay smutty, keep your nose in a book. See you later, friends.
Body, babe, got it, yeah, on it. Did I ever?